You play a football match with 5 fans, it can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch, it becomes nothing.
And to Johnston. Johnson. And a goal by Johnson. Larson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! Nakamura! He has done it! Isn't that just typical?
The game is over. The Rebels have won.
A star is born at Celtic.
Champions. That's who we are.
Good evening. Welcome, Tuesday, 27th of September. It's another episode of the Jungle Gyms Tuesday TikTok. To the viewers, hope you are all doing well, each and every one of you. Tonight, it's myself, Paddy and Anthony, and we hope to kind of keep your attention before the international kickoff goes ahead this evening, whether it be 7:45 or 8 o'clock. I'm not too sure which. But Paddy, McGinty, how you guys doing?
Oh, good, mate. How are you?
I'm not bad. A little bird told me that today is our 100th episode. Is that correct?
Looks like it. Did you ever think
around for this long? Jeez.
I know, just think people have been listening to your push for
100 episodes over a year now.
I feel like some of them last fucking 2 years, but
does this make us like professional podcasters now? No?
I wouldn't go as far.
Still 3 twats just talking shite.
get right.
That's closer to it. So thanks to the viewers for humouring us for this long. Guys, so it's the international break. We're almost at the end. Bob playing this weekend against Motherwell. But as always, the international break is quite a great period for a lot of the Celtic football fans. Unfortunately, we've picked up a couple of injuries here and there, a few fitness concerns. So we don't know how that's going to affect the lineup for the Motherwell game. And I guess we'll try and make tonight as sexy as possible because, in my opinion, there's been fuck all to talk about. But hopefully, with McGinty, Paddy, and myself, when we put our minds together, we can try to give some vanilla entertainment at best. Right?
Chocolate, baby.
We can try.
Chocolate all the way.
Nice one. So Scotland are kicking off, I think, 7:45 or 8 o'clock against Ukraine. I heard that they've had a few viruses going around the squad, so I'm not too sure what the starting lineup will be for Scotland. Because if you can tell us that, then we might be able to read into who's been affected Celtic-wise. I think Cam McGregor should be a starter. He's like the Iron Man. Nothing can really stop him. Although I did hear that Greg Taylor has got the virus. What type of virus?
So
I've got the lineup flinging by in a minute, so I'll tell you when it comes up. But,
I'll tell you the lineup right now if you want.
Oh, you better remember.
He who shall not be named in goals, Craig Gordon. Taylor starts along with Hickey, Hendry, and Porteous. So that's quite a young kind of backline there. Ryan Fraser, McGinn, Jack, McGregor, McLean, and Che Adams up front. Looks like a 4-5-1 by the looks of it. Pretty basic, pretty boring. I am not at all entertained by that.
I kind of zoned out whenever you started. I'm sorry. Did
So did I
Taylor...
zoned out when I started reading it. It's a Scotland lineup. I mean, I want to be patriotic, but yeah. Greg Taylor starts.
Okay. So Cal Mack and Greg Taylor. Right, okay. Fair dues. Guys, for the international battles that have went on over the past week or so, Maida went off with a thigh injury for Japan. So Taylor, he starts, so that's him good. Hopefully he'll be good for this weekend. Haksabanovic, he went off after about 27 minutes after a challenge. So hopefully that's not too bad. And Cameron Carter-Vickers, he's still a fitness concern, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Turnbull, he pulled out of the Scotland squad again with fitness concerns. And I think Starfelt, and although that goes back to before the international break, I think he's still kind of touch and go. So not the best, but I guess we can all expect this from the international breaks. Guys, so we've got a big period ahead of us in terms of a lot of games in a short period of time. It actually makes me nostalgic because whenever we cast our minds back to about a year ago, we actually affectionately called it the McGinty Gauntlet because it was after the national break and we had started bad with picked up 3 defeats within our opening 6 games domestically in the league. So we were kind of we've given ourselves a hell start, and we're kind of there again right now, but we've made far better progress. But we're looking at 13 games in the next 43 days. And of course, we want to kind of maximise all the points that we can get. But I wanted to kind of read out to you the games that we've got in the month of October. And this is just in the league. Obviously, the Champions League takes care of itself. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So we've got Celtic Motherwell this weekend. After that, we've got St Johnstone away. We've got Hibs at home, Hearts away, and Livingston away. So, McGinty, coming to yourself first. What's your thoughts for the task ahead for October? 5 difficult games. The ones that stick out, Livy and Hearts away, particularly for me.
I say St Johnstone away sticks out as well as a potential banana skin as such. It's I wouldn't call it a gauntlet this year. I actually forgot I did that last year. On the back of how we started last year, we really needed to go on a run. We really needed to put performances in and get results, especially backing Ange, where his new team, his new setup that he's going for. It's different now. We're 2 points ahead on the table. We beat them already. We have an established team, an established manager now. Everything's pretty much rosy in the garden. It's a few tough games. It's the Hearts there. St Johnstone, Livy, they're going to be tough ones. Hibs, probably not so much this season. But we just take one game at a time. We're more than capable of beating and winning all those games. But you take it one game at a time, play your strongest team that's available, rest when you have to, but only when you have to. Not like 2 weeks ago. That was too much chopping and changing, too many rests, especially an international break coming up. We need to field the strongest team we possibly can, assuming everybody's fit and ready for it. We'll win.
I agree with you. The way you take each game as it comes, that's the best mentality, rather, to get ahead of yourself. Paddy, whenever Celtic last played competitively, we lost 2-0 against St Mirren, and it left a very, very bitter taste in the mouth going into the international break. So where's your head at right now in terms of looking to get over that defeat? Are you looking to put things to bed quite quickly and get a comfortable win, hopefully, against Motherwell this weekend?
Well, of course, kind of losing your last game before you get into international breaks, it's never a good thing in the sense of like you've lost, so you kind of get back in quickly enough and then kind of rectify it. But obviously, we're having that time off, Ange can kind of really sail back in, reflect on things, and see where things maybe need to change, or has he done too much rotating, as McGinty says. I don't know, but I'm absolutely ready to get back to the football on Saturday, mate. I cannot wait. And I think with the game being at home against Motherwell, it's the perfect opportunity for us to basically come back as a refreshed, refocused animal, you know what I mean, and get back to the way that we were at the start and go out and fucking show our intent again and show people that were so quick to put the knife in after one defeat, albeit a very, very bland, poor, boring, horrendous, not horrendous, but you know what I mean. It wasn't a good defeat. It was definitely a game that we should have won. But aye, there was a lot of wee nebs in the media just sitting salivating over it. Do you know what I mean? So I absolutely cannot wait till we get back and fucking ram it right up them. But
Yeps.
And a wee neb, just a wee Hugh Keevins. Hugh Keevins, by the way, he's another fanny. I don't know if you remember last season. He put out this wee story. One of his report things, and he basically used a wee acronym, and it was absolutely not good enough. So he was trying to be condescending and put in Ange, absolutely not good enough. Well, he done the exact same thing again. I can't remember the exact words that was used, but it was like it basically spelt out crap. Do you know what I mean? So that's just the type of wee fucking rotten wee jobby face that I can't wait to see fucking greeting into his conflicts the next morning when we absolutely pump Motherwell. You know what I mean?
Aye. It must be so fulfilling to be like a 60-year-old, 70-year-old football reporter, but still logging your shite for a tabloid rather than having to go on to a broadsheet or whatever. He does appeal to the shite in society. And another good comment here for Patrick McLaughlin. He was talking about as long as McGregor, Hatate, and O'Reilly are in the midfield and he's feeling confident. However, he does feel the loss of Callum Carter-Vickers. McGinty, Chris Sutton actually said that after we get beat by St Mirren, I don't want to kind of go back to that too much, but he spoke about the loss of Callum Carter-Vickers and how he is our most reliable, influential player. Obviously, your eye gets attracted towards the flair of Jota, the guile of Kyogo, but exactly what does Callum Carter-Vickers bring to the Celtic squad that makes it so solid and so consistent week in, week out?
He brings a kind of a calmness to the backline. He doesn't slow it down. He actually gets involved with the build of the play, but he calmly goes about it. He's one of those players that when I was growing up, I'd always hear that kind of phrase that if you don't notice somebody on the football pitch, chances are they're probably having a good game. And I think that's very, very true for defensive-minded players. And with Carter-Vickers, there's some games you don't realise he's there almost because he's just going about his business. He does the job right. He calms the situations down and he helps build up the play from Joe Hart going into the midfield. He's a big link in the team. He really is an established first-team centre-back for us, and we definitely missed him. But my hope is that the international break, I think beforehand, Ange had said that he was expecting that he should be back in contention after the break. So fingers crossed that he does come back because he's sorely missed, especially when we changed to Jens and Welsh in the last game. That was two players from the cold coming in to a game where they should have been able to cope with it. But, you're throwing teams together with too many changes. It's going to happen. So at least get Carter-Vickers back and I think we should be all right. I fully agree with Patrick.
And Paddy, talking about that steadying influence in the central defence, has Callum Carter-Vickers found his preferred partner at centre back, whether it be Starfelt or whether it be Jens? Who do you as a fan prefer to see him playing alongside?
Do you know, funny enough, I was talking about that today, and obviously we're talking about who's probably going to play on Saturday. So I kind of think that Starfelt should start on Saturday. Obviously, number one, because I think he's better than Welsh. But it also gives him 90 minutes potentially to get ready for the Red Bull game on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. But for me, one of the things, again, that we were discussing today was that when Starfelt plays, and I know he really did come onto a game last season, and he has been kind of solid at times. He's did this and did that. But I think when I watch Starfelt, I'm always waiting. No one anticipating why, but I always think there's a mistake in him. And it's always kind of a big mistake. When I see Jens play, I don't feel that kind of that unsteadiness. It's that calmness that you say about when you're talking about Callum Carter-Vickers. He's a great passer. He looks to be intelligent. He can read the game. He looks physical enough. You know what I mean? So for me, it's Jens. But when you talk about Vickers as well, obviously the game at St Mirren, with Vickers out, we lost a massive, massive solid presence at the centre back. We lost one of our biggest, kind of most physically imposing guys. Even though he's not massively tall, he's a unit. He's an absolute unit. And when you've got guys like Curtis Main coming up against fucking Stephen Welsh, generally there's only going to be one winner. Do you know what I mean? If it's a physical, and that's where Celtic have struggled, really, really struggled in the last few years. And I know this Ange team's obviously a different animal, but we still do tend to struggle with the physical element at times. And that happens in midfield, I know. Do you know what I mean? So I would actually like to see the boy Abelgard start as well, potentially, and just let's see what he's all about. He's had he's bought his time on the bench for the last few games. Give him a shot. Moy get his shot at St Mirren. Give this boy a shot now.
I think the new lad's probably not going to start. I think he's going to come off the bench, assuming we're 2 up or something. And I just don't have a feeling that Ange is going to tinker too much. I think he's going to go back to the strongest possible experienced 11 that he can field. And that surely has to be McGregor, Hatate, and O'Reilly if all three are fit. If not, then you're looking at Moy or Turnbull coming in. I don't see one of those two coming in, not both. I don't see the new guy coming in as well. I just don't see Ange tinkering that much. He seems to be a manager who will try something different, but he'll learn from his lesson and learn from a mistake, such as the Kyle go out wide left against them last season. He pretty much never tried that again. He knows when something doesn't work, so don't do it. He learns really well, Ange does. So I don't think he'll tinker with the midfield too much in that sense with the new guy. I think he's also in the back pairing. I think he's also very likely to go with Jens and Starfelt if both are fit. I don't think Welsh starts if Carter Vickers isn't available either. Again, he learns from it. They're not as imposing as Carter Vickers, but they're both still two strong, tall players. They are there. Whereas Welsh, he doesn't shy away. Welsh he's just not imposing enough, which I think is exactly what you were alluding to.
Well, I seen
Curtis Means and stuff. He just gets bullied off it.
I seen Frank Kennedy at the side there asking the question about Jason Denayer coming in a free. Well, he's signed for a team in the what do you call it? Emirates, Shabib Al Ali or something. So he signed today for them. So no, he won't be coming to Celtic.
Strange one, Denayer. A lot of people wanted him to return to Celtic. A good centre back, and of course, I'm sure the USA coach said his injury was minor. Who knows? I certainly hope so. I'm not too sure if USA are playing again tonight or tomorrow night before the players return back to club duty this weekend. But I would like to see Cameron Carter-Vickers rested regardless. So hopefully he'll be ready for the Motherwell game. What was I going to say? What was I going to say?
There's Frank asking about that club was.
Talk about Denayer.
Denayer. Aye. He played for Lyon for quite a number of years. Look, after he left Celtic, he had the perfect partnership. Imagine learning the faith next to Virgil van Dijk, and he goes off to Lyon in France and plays Champions League games. He gets games for Belgium as well. Albeit fucking Hector used to get games for Belgium as well. What's his face? The guy who went to Hertha. Boyata. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Hopefully losing my train of thought tonight. Aye, but
Is that Doug? That Doug's putting you off.
I'll post him. He's awake at 6 o'clock in the morning, man. Awake. It's like living on a farm with a fucking cock, man. Every fucking morning. Anyway, Denayer, a strange move, really strange move. I wanted to ask you something, though, McGinty. You were talking about is the guy's name Abildgaard, the centre midfielder, the 6'4" guy. And we're thinking that as long as people like McGregor, etc., are fit, then this guy will struggle to get in the team, even if they're tempted to rest people.
I'm not saying struggle to get in the team. I do not know anything about the guy enough to say that he's good, bad, indifferent, or whatever. I just don't think Ange is going to tinker with it that much with somebody who's just into the club a matter of weeks. I think he's going to go back to the trio as much as he can of Hatate, McGregor, O'Reilly. And then once the game's going, we're maybe a couple of goals up, we'll bring the new guy in. If the new guy impresses, we'll see him bleed into the team. I as every new player at Celtic, I generally hope that they end up being world superstars and they blow us all away. I've got high hopes and expectations based on nothing but faith. But I just don't see Ange tinkering that much quite just yet after 2 weeks ago.
Well, my question actually kind of centres on Callum McGregor. I remember having a debate with a Celtic fan a year ago. It was about Callum McGregor and how he plays so often, because he made a quip to a reporter a couple of days ago saying, well, I play 70 games every season anyway. And it's, do you ever think that playing so many games regularly and playing 90 minutes all the time, he's not the type of guy who gets subbed off very often. Celtic are so reliant on him. Scotland are very reliant on him, and he just plays an incredible amount of games every season. Do you think that might stop his longevity? That rather than a player going on to play until the age of 35, 36, etc., the signs point that he's not going to peter out. He's got crazy levels of stamina and endurance. But do you think that I'll look at it in other sports as well, like boxers, for example, like Canelo Alvarez. He started fighting professionally at the age of 15. He's already about 31, 32. But I don't think he'll fight until he's like 38 and stuff like that. Do you think that we could see something like that with McGregor, or do you think he's like kind of outlier where it could just continue on and on and on?
No, I don't think we'll see him to the age of 37, 38. I do think he'll go well into his 30s and still play at a very good level for us. Perhaps move on after that to keep himself going. He seems to be generally quite a fit guy. He's never came back from pre-season and looked out of shape. He's never started a season slow or lethargic. As you said, he plays 70 games every season for the last 8-9 years. And every year he just progressively gets better and better. You look at the guy that he's just replaced, Scott Brown. What age did he get to? 36 when he retired. He left us at 34, 35. But with Scott Brown, you could see him coming, even in the Brendan Rodgers, just before Brendan Rodgers came in, people were debating, has he got the legs to keep going at this level? And he proved us all wrong, but the questions were there. The questions have never been there for Callum McGregor. And I don't think the question ever will be there until he gets to that age where it's kind of reasonably expected that somebody would retire or drop down a level or something. I don't think he's going to peter off. I think he'll call it a day when he needs to. But it'd be a bit too early to see if he's going to get to 37, 38, a la Pirlo, Iniestas and stuff like that, who have managed to keep themselves in, well, they did manage to keep themselves in peak condition and shape and play well into the 37, 38, 39, even 40, I think Pirlo got to when he was playing in New York. Could he manage that? Possibly, but it's way too early to tell. All I can see is that I don't expect him to drop off in the next 2-3 years. I imagine he'll get to 32, 33 quite happily without any issues at Celtic.
Yeah. Paddy, I take my fears are on my own for that one. You probably don't share about the wear and tear of.
No, listen, it's a fair comment, mate. I don't think you'll know how his body's going to adapt until at least hits the 30 mark. So obviously that's when your body starts to change and things start to take a wee bit longer to fucking recover from all that. But I think the difference is now that we've got a proper sports science guy in. We've got Ange, who kind of has a lot of philosophical stuff about that type of thing as well, about players, extending their careers and stuff. And as well as Celtic have kind of introduced a new gym system, a new training system as well, and they're trying to focus on power. And they actually put an advert, not an advert, like a kind of wee montage thing about the new gym system at Lennoxtown. And I'm sure it was the boy John Curry, who's the fitness guy. And you see Callum in the background, and he's doing a lot of explosive movements, kind of stuff that kind of trains quick movements. So I think that's kind of integral when you see the way that Callum McGregor plays on the park, because his game now is all about getting in people's faces. So it's all about stop, start, and being able to move as fast as you can from one spot to the next. You know what I mean? So that type of work is going to make him obviously fitter, faster, more physical, stronger. So obviously when you are those types of things, and as well as I think I'm sure I read that Callum McGregor leads a very, very healthy lifestyle as well. He's healthy eating and stuff like that, as you would expect of a football player. But he's one of these guys that he's not at the piss every weekend or every second weekend.
No doner kebabs.
Well, I don't know.
Well, that's what we're all kind of alluding to, and I don't mean to be negative on Scott Brown. He's an absolute legend for this club. But Scott Brown had those moments. The picture of him at a bus stop with a doner kebab. He had moments of coming back, not quite at the sharpness. He never came back overweight, but he never was quite at his peak condition of sharpness when he came back from pre-season. Whereas Callum McGregor seems to just consistently live that lifestyle. He's consistently at a level of fitness and health that guys like me, you, and Paddy could only bloody dream of, probably. But he just looks, I know, he just looks like a guy who's always ready to burst a gut for the club, for the game, for his job, whatever you want to call it. Whereas other players, and I'm not meaning Brown here, but other players throughout football generally can have those ups and down moments throughout the season. McGregor just looks always at the top of his game. He'll have off days, of course, but he just looks always ready.
Well, I think the biggest issue that's going to be for McGregor is the amount of game time that he's playing. You know what I mean? Ange did say it at the start of the season. He's not going to have guys like McGregor and Joe Hart playing 50, 60 games a season. McGregor's going to be playing, God, how many games in the next 2 weeks? So he's playing Saturday with Scotland. He's playing the night. He's probably going to play on Saturday against Motherwell. He's probably going to play against Leipzig Tuesday. Probably going to play the next game, and the next game. So this is where it's going to be down to Ange to properly manage his squad and say, listen, although you're integral to this first team squad, you need to rest, because that's the kind of thing that will burn you out. There's nobody, I don't think, nobody on this planet, not even your fucking Ronaldos or your Messis or anybody that can go and play 70 games every season or 60 games, whatever it might be. Because Callum McGregor is an ever constant. And I think at one point, I don't know if it was maybe 2 seasons ago, that he'd actually played the most minutes of any footballer in the world. You know,
I think that happened a couple of times, did it not? Because there's one season that it got brought to everybody's attention, and we're like, wow, considering the fact that, you know, we all got knocked out in the qualifying rounds of the Champions League and stuff. I think it does add in the qualifying games, but still played more minutes than anybody else, played more games than anybody else and whatnot. But I have a felement that happened a few years in a row, or he was like top 3 at least for a few years in a row. So he's definitely consistently, he's definitely able to, up to this point, play this amount of games. Is it wise that he plays it consistently for the next 5 years? Probably not, if you want to prolong his career. But I go back to he looks like this kind of guy who's just always in peak condition. He looks like he looks after himself. And if he's able to play, I say play him.
Fair dues. Guys, to the viewer so far, we're 27 minutes in, but if I can just kindly remind you all, if you can't, show the love and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and of course, if you've got any comments that you just want up, and just fucking say, show my comment, please, and Paddy, or begin to bring up. And for Frank Brennan, and what are we doing after these 13 games in 43 days? Well, it's the World Cup, baby. We're going to the other side of the world for a completely meaningless friendly tournament when they all should be having a wee rest, for fuck's sake.
So what do you want them to do, Frank? Do you want them to sit up in the living room with their feet up with a cup of Horlicks? They're going away to Australia, they're going away to the sun, and they're playing 2 games. I think you really need to pull the stick at your arse, mate, because you're one Greek-faced cunt. Honestly. Every fucking time. Something to
we do appreciate the dynamic that you bring to the podcast, though, mate. We can't all be shiny, happy people. Guys, one thing we do occasionally try to bring into the Tuesday TikTok is on this day, the wee history lesson. Paddy still looks pissed off here. Gives a wee smile, will you? Sure that I'm not put right there. Right, hi. On this day, I've actually got 2 incidents, and I've got a follow-on question for each. So on this day in 1924, a long fucking time ago. What's that?
I was a boy,
98 years ago, Jimmy McGrory scored his first hat-trick in a 4-0 league win against Motherwell. Hopefully that's that's a good omen for this weekend. But his first ever hat-trick for Celtic. And by the way, he scored 9 hat-tricks in total for Celtic. What a legend. The guy is, I think he still holds the British goal scoring record, which is phenomenal. And on the back of that, Paddy, I wanted to ask you, because you're a bit of a Celtic football scholar, out of the legends that you've read about, obviously we're too young to remember people like that, but going back to before we were born, which of the Celtic legends, reading the stories, which one kind of endeared themselves to you the most?
I'll tell you one. It was Charlie Shaw. Don't know if that name rings a bell to anybody. No,
I've heard it, yes.
So basically, I can't really remember fucking statistics and whatnot, appearances, blah blah blah. But Charlie Shaw was a goalkeeper. He was the captain of Celtic at one point as well. But apparently, Charlie Shaw was only about 5'8", I think, 5'8" or 5'9". He was a goalkeeper, and I think at one point he had. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to go off memory here. I think he is. What was it? He had the longest consecutive clean sheet record in the UK until I think, who was it beat him? I think it was Edwin van der Sar beat him. I think when he was at Man United. So I think Van der Sar still got the record. So I think it was Charlie Shaw. I think I might be wrong there, but that's definitely something that I've read. But it was the fact that he was a tiny wee guy. What you saying? There's fucking Victor Meldrew saying something in the corner. Can't be asked you. Aye, it was a wee guy, and he had a spring like a cat. Apparently, absolutely brilliant goalkeeper. Who you call right there, Frank? I get that one up, Frank. What are you saying, pal? I'm a shiny, happy realist. Your YouTube, and we had completely no need to go to the other side of the world for a wee rest and meaningless games. And so here's hoping for no injuries out there in the sun. Well, I certainly don't mind getting called a tube, but you are one grumpy fucking Greek-faced cunt, and it's every single week. So we had completely no need to go to the other side of the world. So again, it's a gap when the World Cup's been moved forward. We're going to Australia. Players are going to Australia. They play in the sun, relax in the sun, rest in the sun, and they're also going there to grow the fan base. There's people across the world that can't come and see Celtic. So we're taking the game to Celtic. So it's not just for people in Glasgow, Ireland, or anybody else that can travel to us. It's a wee thing for people over on the other side of the world to actually go and see Celtic possibly for the first time in their life. So it's not just a wee meaningless friendly. Do you know what I mean? It's 2 games in Australia. Fuck me. How terrible is that?
One thing I would add to that is think about the Australian Celtic supporters who don't get the chance to travel over here to see Celtic.
That's what I meant.
You know, imagine how much they'll be looking forward to that. We get to one other incident on this day. This was back in 1989, so a little bit closer to home, or closer to our lives anyway. Darius Jakunovski, he scored 4 goals at Parkhead in a 5-4 win over Partizan Belgrade. But unfortunately, we went out. This was in the European Cup Winners' Cup, but we went out on the away goals rule, which has now been scrapped. But I was wondering, by the way, that's must have been a brilliant game to witness, almost like that Armenia Bratislava game at Parkhead when we beat them 5-0. No, we beat them 4-0, but they beat us 5-0 away, I think it was. So I was wondering, what's the biggest European heartbreak that you've witnessed for Celtic? Me personally, I would just rather not talk about Seville. So anything apart from that, it would be nice to hear about, although it is quite a bittersweet topic.
I don't know. There's a few disappointments throughout. Obviously, many qualifiers where we've stumbled and failed. I'd like to answer it differently, though. The complete opposite. And give you the Ajax games in 2001 when we qualified for the Champions League as one of the best times in European football that we've had. Not the best, obviously. You know, Liverpool, Barcelona, definitely. But Ajax 2001 stands out as a memorable, good 2 games that we played to get through. I don't think we won both. I know we won 3-0, was it, away? But it was good to get the wins in the qualifying rounds and get into the Champions League. I believe possibly for the first time, at least obviously under Martin O'Neill. That was good. Too many disappointing ones over the years, though, to pick one.
I think
just
maybe
name any qualifier.
One of the disappointments for me was when we failed to get at the Champions League group stages. This still would have been under Martin O'Neill, and it was when we were playing Lyon away, and I think it was 2 each, and they're almost in like the 90th minute of stoppage time. That the Brazilian boy Juninho, who scored another free kick, because that's just what that guy did
Oh, yeah.
to win 3-2, I think it was, and that meant that we finished 12th, I believe, and we went into the UEFA Cup. But
Was that the year that we actually got 9 points as well, but still came third? It was like one of those really freak groups and freak years where normally in the Champions League you get 9 points in your group stage. It's usually good enough to go through, but we were one of those teams that just got really unlucky with it. Where everybody else came points.
Most likely, man. Most likely. A wee random one, McGinty. We've got a couple of representatives who are going to be playing in the World Cup this winter. A weird one in Qatar in the winter. However, although I hate international breaks, I do love World Cups. Who are you tipping for the World Cup?
I don't know. It's a tough one. You look at France. The last few years, we're building up to something. They got the championship win a couple of years back, but I don't think they're good enough to win a World Cup yet. Belgium they went over their peak. Croatia likewise. Brazil, I don't know what they're doing just now. I know they were in transition for a few years, but I don't know if they're ready. Same with Argentina. They always seem to be thereabouts, but always the hard luck losers. Spain, I've got the massive of all soft spots for Spain, but again, massive rebuild that they're going through. Germany, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough one. But I would like personally to see Spain or Argentina in the final and one of them to win it.
Paddy?
I don't know, mate. I was actually thinking about Argentina. I think, see, when you look at Messi, Messi's kind of found his role that he likes now at PSG, and I think he's playing as a kind of deeper line midfielder. You know what I mean? So possibly, if you get the best out of Messi, then Argentina could potentially do something. But I'm hoping, I don't know, I'm kind of hoping for an outsider this year. I know it's going to be a really, really humid, hot temperature. So you never know. Maybe one of the African teams will turn up this year.
I remember Pelé, the legend Pelé, saying this was like back in maybe the 80s or like the early 90s. He said within 10 years, within 20 years, an African nation is going to win it, but they've never came close. I think the closest an African nation came was Ghana, perhaps, and then they eventually get put out by Brazil in the quarterfinals. For South America, because I'm biased, I'm going to go for Brazil. But I think if I was to go for Europe, I would have to default to the current champions, France. I still think that France, if they've got their head screwed on and with the right leadership, they've got a lot of superstars, but if they play as a team, then there's no reason why they shouldn't win, although I'm not a fan of France. So there you go, Brazil or France for me.
I'm not going to lie, I probably won't watch any of the World Cup, obviously. I won't be able to watch the ones during the day, but even the ones at night. It's just this whole Dubai, is it Dubai? Qatar, and the fact that it's been moved to November. It's a total farce. And then obviously you've got all the kind of ethical stuff about it, people dying, building stadiums and this and that. So it's really probably the most unpopular World Cup that I can recall, even though it's not started. But as football fans, it's the big show, isn't it? But I don't know.
Nah, I'm still going to love it and enjoy it. I know exactly what you're saying, Paddy, and I'm not turning a complete blind eye to it. But at the end of the day, it's still the World Cup. It's 4 weeks of football heaven. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to watch as much as I can. I did not know this from Patrick McLaughlin, though, that the FPL starts back when the World Cup's at the quarterfinal stages. I mean, I don't expect many Celtic players or other SPFL players to be that far into the World Cup. Obviously, you look at Croatia and Juranovic, perhaps, but that's interesting. Not like the Scottish Football Associations to completely screw up a scheduling, bring us all back 2 weeks earlier than expected. But hey,
well, I suppose the only good thing about the World Cup coming is that soon after that, then the dreaded VAR will come into play in Scotland.
Can he wait?
I wonder what the first game will be for it. Interest.
Yeah.
I
Are they not?
I actually can't wait to see. I can't wait to see I'll probably watch one of their games, but I cannot wait to see the first Rotten Mob game when they've got VAR to see how this works.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that goes down. Have they not already done a few trial games already, where they've used it but not officially used it? They've kind of used it for themselves. I would like to know how that's going.
You'd imagine
Yeah.
they'd be doing that now. They can't just like go from not having done it to,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't think it's Maxwell, but one of the guys who's in charge of it. I'm sure I read something a few months ago. They are doing that like throughout September, then October and stuff. They're building up games that they're using it in the background, and they're seeing what their decisions and the calls would be, but they're not like officially put it into the game. They're just making it as a simulation sort of thing. So they'll be a couple of games into it by now, surely, and it'd be interesting to see how the confidence level that this is actually going to work out. Because I'm with Paddy. Let's see what happens when that mob plays and what calls they get. Because
I know they've been doing a lot of kind of talking with the clubs and sending their designated representatives to all the clubs and working out how it's going to work. You know, taking the coaching staff of teams and stuff like that, and sitting them down and saying, right, this is how it's all going to develop. This is how it's going to work. So they have been doing that for at least the last 3 months, I would say. But no, it's it should be interesting. Could it be to the detriment of certain clubs? I wonder.
I think they've already got their get out clauses. I'm not going to try and paraphrase it because I can't mind, but I do mind reading a couple of months back as well, probably a similar interview with whoever it was, Maxwell, somebody. I'm sure they've already got their get out where they're not going to use it for certain things that we as fans think, oh, VAR would say that's a foul or VAR would call that handball. They're not going to use it for some things. They're going to only use it to confirm a decision sort of thing. It's going to be interesting. I think they're going to wake up and realize how much they're not using it is going to be the issue rather than what they use it for.
They're not going to use it for everything. I think that we need to bear in mind that the rules are constantly evolving with VAR. It's already been part of the English game for quite a few years now, but they keep changing the rules year in, year out due to criticism. They're refining it, and you would imagine that this sort of thing needs to be refined and constantly challenged. But I think for the time being, it's like clear and obvious decisions like penalties, red cards, mistaken identity. Apart from that, red cards if I never said that. But other things like just innocuous challenges and yellow cards, I don't think it's going to get brought back for that. You know what I was actually watching before we went live? I was watching a DVD. It was Anyone But Celtic. It was a DVD I was given, and I've Paul Larkin. Never getting into watching it, but I was watching it there. I've not finished it yet, and it was talking about the Lanarkshire Referees Association. Yeah, quite an eye opener. Not that I was completely naive before having watched it, but it does kind of. They had an unnamed source, a former referee, who was they tried to encourage him to join the Freemasons. But he refused because he said, well, if I'm good enough to be a referee, that should be the only thing. And apart from the unnamed source, they had the former Celtic goalkeeper, John Fallon, who was just fucking, he's very, very outspoken, you know what I mean? So you'd imagine that he never had any qualms in coming on and criticising certain people. But funny watching that DVD and then talking about VAR.
It's a great documentary, mate. And if anybody's not seen it, it's actually on YouTube. So go and have a look at it. Anyone But Celtic by Paul Larkin. And I think he's making a sequel to it. I think which is going to be out pretty soon. Great watch, and a lot of the stuff most is already know.
Indeed. Guys, there was a comment earlier on from Woodsy. I think he was talking about Juranovic and saying 50 million. Who would you say is going to be our next big cash cow at Celtic? I think it's inescapable the way that we are, the model that we are as a club, that whenever you get to a certain level, we start talking about price tags. And we say, no, he's not good enough for that club. He needs to go to a Liverpool or a Man U or an Arsenal, etc. Unfortunately, that's just the way sometimes that arguments go. I was wondering who do you think our next big cash cow will be? McGinty or Paddy?
Hatate or O'Reilly. O'Reilly is almost ready-made as a Danish international. He's played in England. He's got a lot of teams looking at him. I think O'Reilly spends the next 18 months at Celtic proving himself, developing his game, being a little bit stronger, but he's already got all the flair in the world. He's got crazy ball control, pull the ball out of the thin air. He'll go somewhere. I don't know if he'll go back down to England, but he'll go somewhere for 20 plus easily. He'll be the next big one. He's worth more than that, but try and be realistic. Hatate, though, I think is one of the ones that could surprise us a little bit. I just feel like his performance, especially in that first half against Real Madrid, I think teams like Real Madrid would have taken notice at that. And if he came into his professional career quite late, I believe, but if he continues to improve upon what he's doing and show that dynamic approach, he can be at the back and tidying things up. He can burst forward. He can play in balls from all over the pitch. Big teams like Real Madrid will notice that and will be keeping good tabs on him. Will Real Madrid sign him straight from Celtic? Probably not. But your teams like Atletico Madrid, Lyon, Dortmund, they might. So between those two, I reckon.
Paddy?
Aye, O'Reilly. I don't necessarily enjoy the topic. I can talk about the players leaving, but it's fact. It's what happens, isn't it? I mean, O'Reilly's obviously grown up playing in England. He's certainly been looked at by other clubs in England previous to even making his move to MK Dons for Fulham. I think Liverpool was one of the names that was mentioned. So he's definitely going to be in the kind of the targets at England. You look at where he's playing. He's playing for Denmark. He's 21. He's got great sail on, potential. I think when you look at Hatate, and it might be kind of football and snobbery, but I think if teams are going to look at buying a player that's going to fit into their club and have a better sell-on value, they're maybe going to look at the Danish midfielder as opposed to the Japanese guy, potentially. I don't know.
I see where you're going, and it's something that I kind of feel like with Kyogo as well. I know what Kyogo can bring to a Celtic team. Ange knows what he can bring to other teams in Japan. Was it Vissel Kobe? Was it? He's a quality player. He's really, really good. But his age is 27, I think now. He's probably not going to leave next summer. He's probably going to stay another year after that. He gets to 28, going on 29. I think he might move on, but I don't think it'll be for as big money as we would expect. I think it might go for 10, 12 million as opposed to the 25 that we would hope and want to get from him. I don't think he'll go for Dembele kind of levels.
Yeah. I think O'Reilly, I hear what you're saying about O'Reilly. The one kind of criticism I've got about O'Reilly is that he's not dominant enough in games. I think sometimes he can go missing, and I think that he's at that right age, 21, where he can work on that, become a bigger presence, and whenever you see his name on the team sheet, then then you'll be gaining confidence. I don't think he's quite there yet, but I hear people saying that. Notably, nobody mentions it, but O'Reilly is definitely at the right age. He's got look as well, and he's obviously played in England as well. So, I think that as long as he continues down that path and surrounds himself with good people, then I'm sure that he can make that move to England. Kyogo, I totally agree with. He's probably on the wrong age. He probably moved to Europe a little bit too late. I think that if he did leave Celtic, it could go into European obscurity, like a mid-table Spanish team. I heard that he does have ambition to go to Spain, but I think he needs to play in a team that suits him. Jota is a fantastic player. I think the one thing that might hold him back is physicality. maybe a little bit not strong enough, maybe a little bit not fast enough. But I'm certainly glad he's playing this trip at Celtic. So, guys, has Scotland kicked off yet?
No, I think we still another 5 minutes to go. Portugal and Spain has kicked off. That kicked off 6 minutes ago. If that's any interest.
Is that a dead rubber, or is it?
Oh no, Ukraine and Scotland have kicked off. Portugal, Spain, no, not a dead rubber. Portugal first, Spain second, 2 points in it, so there is something to play for.
Paddy, what's your thoughts on the double header against Leipzig? What's your expectations?
Expectations, probably the first no expectation I've got is that we beat them at Celtic Park. We need to beat them at Celtic Park. I think the least we're looking for in Germany is a draw, which is going to be very, very hard. Red Bull have obviously had that bounce back ability of the new manager in. They have still got a nucleus of top players. You know, they obviously had a spell last year where they failed to show up in Glasgow, but they can certainly do it in their own home pitch, and they've got Timo Werner back. I know he's not put the header to light again since he's come back, but he's still a very, very dangerous player, very fast, and he can cause us trouble, which I think is why it's probably going to be imperative a wee bit that we get Starfelt back rather than Welsh playing against Motherwell, because Starfelt's faster than Stephen Welsh. He's faster with his recovery pace, so that's possibly going to be something that we're going to have to use against Werner at times. They've also got the added threat of having the big boy Poulsen, who's a big, tall, strong Danish guy. I think he's about 6'4" fucking unit. They've got somebody else up front and on. I can't remember who it is. I think it might be who? No, they've got another striker. I know it might be that big Portuguese fella. Can't mind.
No, I'm idiot.
Andre Silva or something.
And Andre Silva, yeah.
So again, if it is him, I'm sure it is. If it is him, he's another threat. They've got the guy in Kunku who never turned up in Glasgow again. They've got Shabalai. They've got the boy Halstenberg who used to play for St. Pauli that we were linked to. Great player again. The keeper, fucking former Liverpool flop who's doing great everywhere else. So they have got a good team.
You've got a good knowledge about that, Mo.
What's that?
You've got a good knowledge about that, Mo.
Oh, mate, it just sits in there and just comes out whenever it wants. But the manager, obviously Marco Rose, beat us in Glasgow with the other Red Bull team a few years back, Salzburg. But Craig Gordon was in goal, so that might have been why. But listen, we're definitely going to have to. It's a big test going over there, the first game. We're doing it after a game that to some people felt like a defeat. You know what I mean? Because we really, really should have won that game. But then they fucking just the counter attack and we get caught off. I mean, but yeah, that's what it is. But we need to go there and play with some pride. Jota needs to turn up. Starfelt's probably going to need to play with his skin, as is Jens. We're going to need to see the best of Juranovic. And I don't actually know who we're going to play in the wings because, as you said earlier on, Haksabanovic came off injured last night. There's been injuries to Maeda. Who else? Vickers, Giacomakis as well. I know had a slight injury. So we'll just need to wait and see, mate. Hopefully play our best team, and we definitely need to get something. We need to get it.
Well, I guess we'll find out how strong the team are whenever we come off the pitch against Motherwell. Interesting times. A big month ahead of us. As I said, Motherwell, St Johnstone, Hibs, Hearts and Livingston, not to mention the Champions League games and the one Premier Sports game sandwiched in between those weekend fixtures. But another gauntlet nonetheless that we're going to have to come through, and we'll be able to reassess where we are compared to our closest rivals after that. Guys, I'm conscious that some people will be tuning into the international games, and we're almost at the hour mark, but is there any other comments that you want us to do? By the way, to the viewers, we'll be back for what I hope will be the post-match review of the Celtic and Motherwell game at the weekend. But guys, any other comments that you want to discuss?
No, not massively. I'll back up kind of the question there about the Champions League and what to expect against Leipzig. I think for us, we need to, over the course of the 2 games, we need to come out on top. Same against Donetsk. We need to win at Celtic Park. We need to take minimum 4 points against both these sides over the 2 games each to really drive forward that we could actually get out of this group and into the last 16. But it's in our hands, so no worries. We've had a bad result a couple of weeks ago. We dust ourselves down. We know it is just a bad result. It's not bad form. It's not a case of anything. I mean, we've scored 5 goals, 9 goals, 4 goals. We're capable of going places and winning games. So dust ourselves down after that. Break's probably done us good. Ange, we know, has probably drilled it into the guys. And we look forward to Saturday. I'm going to be at the game, I hope. I won't be able to join you for the podcast, but hopefully you guys are celebrating a victory afterwards.
Is that because you'll be streaming?
I'll be in the pub, yeah.
Okay. We'll allow that. I hope you have a fantastic time at the Motherwell game. Myself, Paddy, and McGinty, I guess we'll wrap it up for tonight. And good luck to whoever nation you're supporting this evening. And for the Jungle Gym's over and out. This is our 100th episode, and it was a lot of fun.
As always, hail, lads.